Last video I said this one would be about another one of the movies from the box set, even though at the time I only mentioned it would be one of these, while forgetting to place a clip of the films. Oops. But then it was brought to my attention that the Mushroom People's costumes were very likely not, in fact, the worst Toho had ever made. That dubious honor probably belongs to the monster costumes from Latitude Zero, and I must admit, they are quite atrocious. Now, what the hell is Latitude Zero and what is the context of these bargain bin flying monkeys? Well, the movie started its life as a co-production between Toho and American TV company 4 Stars. The funniest thing happened though, as 4 Stars folded just as the American cast was being flown to Japan, leaving Toho to finance and finish the film by themselves, which they did at half the planned budget. Most bizarrely, despite Toho paying for the whole thing and filming the movie in Japan using a Japanese crew, most of the actors were Americans, and all the dialogue was recorded in English. Yes, even the few Japanese actors had to deliver their lines in insufferable English.
Everything is near normal. You see, the new marrow injections promote healing in a miraculously short time.
We are near enough to get McKenzie this time.
It must have been a unique filming experience for everyone involved. So this is basically the opposite of a normal US-Japan co-production, with an Anglophone cast punctuated by the token Toho star like Akira Takarada. Speaking of whom, I totally forgot to include an in memoriam of him in the last video, so I'm fixing this mistake right now. Rest in peace, Mr. Takarada. Thank you for everything. The plot of the film is an adaptation of the 1930s radio serial of the same name, of which very little is known besides that it too tells the adventures of a submarine led by a certain Captain McKenzie against the evil genius Malic. I'm not sure if the Latitude Zero part of the story was a constant though. In the movie, Latitude Zero is a secret city at the bottom of the ocean, a literal utopia where everyone lives ultra-long and comfortable lives. Energy is free and unlimited, interpersonal conflict is a concept unheard of, every room is decorated with real diamonds, and there's a trampoline at every corner. Teenagers are still a pain in the ass though. The place is a refuge for the greatest minds of the surface world who want to get away from the conflict and insanity of the rest of the planet. Conflict and insanity that would probably not occur if they shared the marvels of their city with the rest of the world. But sure, it's everybody else's who is not ready for what you have to offer. Or maybe you just don't want people to see these ridiculous clothes you are wearing. I mean, look at that! What the hell is this? And button up your shirt, dude, no one wants to see your chest. Like I said, the main antagonist of the movie is Malic, played here by everyone's favorite mustache joker CESAR ROMERO, who alongside his wife Lucrecia wants to enter Latitude Zero and steal all the technological wonders in there contained, with which he will conquer the world. To this end, he devised a trap to lure McKenzie straight into his lair, and kidnapped Dr. Okada from Japan just as he was heading into the secret underwater city. Once the good doctor is in his hands, Malic starts terrorizing him with the sight of his monstrous creations. Monstrous indeed. You know what is sad? This was Eiji Tsubaraya's last sci-fi movie. He would only make one more war film before dying, so his swan song in the genre that made him famous was this. To be fair, not all special effects in this movie are atrocious. Most of them are pretty solid, if not outright incredible, like the volcano eruption from the beginning. It's just that, as I mentioned already, the monster costumes are so ugly, so cheap, so, below Toho's usual level of quality. It makes the Matango costumes look halfway decent by comparison. Also, and I have to mention this, Malic commands an army of Batmen. There is no way this wasn't intentional. With Dr. Okada in dire straits, it is up for McKenzie to form a rescue party to It's like they are actively trying to make this worse than it already was. Anyway, armed with jetpacks, elevation belts, Mandalorian issue wrist-mounted flamethrowers, and literal invincibility. Are you shitting me? Nothing can stop these guys. What are the stakes here? They roll through everything Malic throws at them: magnetic rocks, lakes full of acid, rodents of unusual size, landslides.
What do you know? You look alright, okay?
See? Just as easily as they evaded the traps laid for them, they get rid of Malic's minions inside his lair. But even if neither Malic nor Lucretia pose a real threat to McKenzie, he still goes an extra mile to prove his sociopathy to the audience by murdering the woman.
Lucretia! I didn't.
I know, Mac.
Alright, let's wrap this up already. With Dr. Okada in their possession, the rescue crew then boards Mackenzie's submarine and gets ready to leave Malic's island, when they are intercepted by the villain in his own submarine. Trapped between a rock and a hard place, literally I suppose, the heroes then activate one last trick of theirs and fly away with the vehicle, dodging Malic's shots as he hits his own base. Not that he cares much really, although he does care when one of his own creations, a giant griffin, comes flying down the rocks to eat the evil genius like tuna in a tin can. First things first, yes, Toho did make this film under less than ideal conditions, being left to finish a movie that was not really theirs to begin with. Given the fact they had to do it with less money than originally promised to them, makes you wonder if some of the padding of the film, and there's a lot of padding in this film, isn't just the filmmakers trying to circumvent whatever was in the original script that was too expensive to shoot. Without that in consideration though, this movie is still your average product of its time when Toho Tokusatsu films started taking a significant drop in quality thanks to diminutive box office returns. In a way, you could even say this movie marks the end of the golden era of the genre, as it was the last one Tsuburaya made before passing. But the fact still remains that by then the best days of the studio were long gone, as evidenced by this shoddy waste of time. Some quality special effects and the always amazing soundtrack aside, Latitude Zero is truly a test of patience, with lengthy sequences of morally dubious characters in horribly tacky clothing talking about how marvelous life is in their underwater utopia. Honestly, halfway through the movie I was starting to cheer for Malic to just destroy the whole place already, not only because of how tedium-inducing the whole concept of that place was, but also because CESAR Romero is way more fun to watch than any of the so-called heroes.
You're a monster. No, I'm a genius.
Not to mention his wardrobe is less offensive to my eyes. So going back to how it all began. Yes, these really are the worst costumes Toho ever put to film, at least from the ones I've seen. If you know of anyone worse than these giant rats, please hit me up in the comments below. I will reluctantly but bravely cover it in a future video. Next time though, it will be pretty certainly one of these. Unfortunately, next time we'll have to wait a while because next week I'll be going on vacation to the land of the free, and it might take a while until I can start working on something else. I know I've just came from a sizable break and I apologize for letting you down a second time, but I'll bring you a gift or something.
Oh my god, I have the exact same blouse.
I like it better on him.